Hey guys, my name is Jaylene Ojeda and I'm finally gonna make a YouTube channel after so long. I was just very nervous about making a YouTube because it's already enough like having an Instagram and a Facebook and having to deal with all the trolls and all the threads. And on Instagram, you can't really get to know me because I have a certain image I have to keep because I just post for brands. Every post is a paid post. Some of them aren't. Some of them are genuine and it's like me just talking to my followers, but nothing like this. And this is way more personal. There's so much that people don't know about me that I don't even know where to start. And I'm actually like, my hands are sweating right now. I'll start when I was in 4th grade. This is gonna be a long story. So if you don't care, you're not interested in hearing about me, you could just exit this video. I was in 4th grade. I was inside the classroom and I wanted to pee really, really bad. And you know, like, they would only let one student at a time use the restroom. So the teacher wasn't letting me. My 4th grade teacher was Ms. Valdez. So I ended up running out of the classroom because I couldn't hold it. So when I finally get to the restroom, sorry, I'm very detailed. I'm like this. Whenever I tell a story, I'm so detailed. So I'm sitting in the toilet peeing or whatever. When I'm about to flush the toilet, I see that there was blood. Me as a little 10-year-old girl seeing that, the first thing that came to my head was like, oh my god, I cut myself. Because no one told me that girls get periods. No one had talked about that stuff to me because I was so little. So I guess my mom never told me anything because she never expected me to get it at such a young age. So I kept looking and looking in my private area, looking for like a reason why it was bleeding, and I didn't find the cut or anything, but it wouldn't stop. I run back to the classroom and I announced to the whole classroom that I'm bleeding from my private because I was worried because the blood wouldn't stop coming out, and I had seen in movies that when blood doesn't stop coming out that you're gonna die. So I thought I was gonna die. My teacher looked really confused and she's like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And like I was already starting to feel it like run down my legs, and the teacher was like, here, she gave me a pass to go to the nurse. So I go to the nurse, like I'm like panicking, and then when I get to the nurse and she gives me a pad, and like I don't know what to do with that, you know, like I'm just staring at it like what the heck. I go inside the restroom and I'm there for hours just looking at it like what am I supposed to do with this thing, you know, like it looked like a little diaper. Long story short, I put it on, I walk out of the restroom and I'm walking with my legs like open, like so awkward. And the teacher passes by me in the hallway and I look at her and I'm like, how do you wear pads? Doesn't it hurt you? Because it was pulling my skin. She's like, no, pads are supposed to be comfortable. They're not supposed to hurt you. And she's like, where did you stick it? And I was like, I sticked it on my private area. She's like, no. She's like, you're supposed to stick it on your underwear. But I didn't know this because no one told me anything, you know. So I sticked it like straight onto my skin, onto my vagina, and that's not what you're supposed to do. And after that day forward, my body started to change a lot. Like I just developed a lot. I grew big boobs, which I don't have anymore, by the way, because I lost them when I lost weight. But I had really big boobs. You know how you had to get in the line to go to lunch, to go to the playground, everywhere? I was sticking out. Since none of the girls had got their period and none of the boys had hit puberty, I looked like a giant next to them. They all called me Giraffe. I thought I was gonna be super tall. Little did I know I was gonna stay the same height. I'm like so short now. But yeah, I was tall, I was very developed. Even all the cafeteria ladies would tell me like, oh my god, how much years did you flunk? And I never flunked. I was supposed to be in 4th grade. I just looked older. Where I grew up, it was like really ghetto and there was a lot of gangs. Like literally every street was a different gang. It was scary growing up there. I got to the point where a lot of the 5th grade girls really hated me because a lot of the 5th grade boys were attracted to me because I looked older. Well, every time I got to school, they would like push me around the hallways, they would pull my hair, they would spit on me, they would like hit me. For some reason, in that school that I went to, girls were just like very competitive with each other. All they cared about was boys, and it was sad because like I didn't care about boys at all. I hated boys actually because I knew that they were the reason that girls didn't like me. I was a loner. And I was a nerd. I was super, super smart too. So that didn't help because, you know, when you're a nerd, people don't really like you. When it got to 5th grade, same thing. Like, the girls still didn't like me. They were always fighting with me, bullying me. I just wanted to feel loved and to have friends and to fit in and to be accepted, you know, by other girls instead of them just hating me and seeing me as an enemy. I never messed with anyone. I never talked bad about anyone. Like, I've always been really nice to everyone, and all I wanted was to have friends. When I got to middle school, I was praying so hard that my first day of school, no one noticed me. I didn't want anyone to notice me. Why? Because I knew if that happened, that I would have even more haters, that even more girls would hate me, and I didn't want that. First day of school, I get to school and everyone's already looking at me, and I'm like, oh my god, like I could already feel like people talking about me. And I go to all my classes, and in my last class there was this teacher named Miss Martinez in Isaac Middle School. When it was already time to leave, she's like, everyone can leave except Jaylene. So I had to stay after school. I'm there talking to her, and she's telling me that if I'm gonna be in her class, that I have to wear a baggy uniform because I can't dress like all the other girls because I look different than the other girls. So if I'm gonna be in her class, I'm not gonna be a distraction, and to not be a distraction, I can't wear a normal uniform like the other girls. So I had to wear loose shirts, and I had to wear like baggy pants to be able to be in her class. I had never walked home by myself from school ever in my life. My dad was supposed to pick me up, but since I took a long time like in class talking to the teacher, in my mind I thought that's why he had left, because there was a bridge in Isaac Middle School. Well, there still is. When I was walking the bridge, I could see that where he was supposed to pick me up was empty, because that's where all the parents picked up their kids. I think like an hour passed by, and I'm like, okay, my dad isn't coming, I'm just gonna have to walk home. I was so scared. I'm like, why didn't my dad come for me? Like, that's all I kept thinking about as I was walking. And as I was walking, I see a little red car like driving, and it starts like driving slower and slower and slower, and I'm like, oh my god. And he stopped. I didn't even want to look at him, and then I heard him say, do you want to see this with me? And I turned, like I kept walking, but I turned, and he had a porn magazine, and I was like, no. And I started walking faster, and when I started walking faster, I heard him open the door and get out of the car. So I didn't even look back. I just started running. And when I started running, my backpack was weighing me down, because the first day of school they give you so many books and they're so heavy. So I dropped my backpack and I kept running, and he caught on to me. He pulled my hair and I fell. And where I was running, it was like there was a wall next to the freeway, right? But you couldn't see the freeway. Like, it was all empty, and it was that wall, and there was rocks. So I fell on the rocks, and like it hurt my forehead. But when I found the rocks, I got rocks and I turned and I went like that, and I guess one of them hit his eye. I can't even talk. He like kept trying to kiss me, and he was like slobbering on me. I heard another car pull up, and in my head I'm like, oh my god, they're with him, like I'm done, like they're gonna help him and that's it. But no, it was a car that had an older lady and a girl my age and another woman in there. And I guess they saw what was happening, and they started yelling at him, like cussing him out, and they told him that they had got his license plate number. I don't know if that was true or not, but he got up and left running. And I'm here like with my hair all messed up, like my shirt, oh, he ripped my shirt, with my shirt ripped, and like I was a mess. I didn't know if I should trust him or not, but they're like, get on the car, we're gonna give you a ride. So I trust him, and I get on the car. They take me home. Like, I didn't even know like what to tell my dad. Like, I just wanted to scream at him for like not picking me up, because if he would have picked me up, I wouldn't have went through that. Then when I open the door, I get so confused, because he's like, did you have fun with that boy at Jack in the Box? And I was like, what? And then he looks at me, he's like, what happened to you? And then I just start crying, and I go to my room, because I don't know what he's talking about. So I get to my room, and I'm laying in bed crying, and I was in there for like hours crying. And then when he finally heard me stop crying, my dad comes in the room, and he's like, what happened to you? He's like, why are you crying? And he's like more calm now. And I was like, because this and this happened to me when I was walking home. He's like, what? And I was like, yeah. He's like, why didn't that stupid boy walk you home? I'm like, what boy are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? And I guess like there's a Jack in the Box when you cross the street from Isaac, from the middle school I went to, but I didn't go to that Jack in the Box. It was my first day of school. Like, who was I gonna go with? And he's like, yeah, two of your friends walked up to the car, and they're like, if you're waiting for Jaylene, just leave, because she's with a boy at Jack in the Box making out with him. And I'm like, my friends? I'm like, Dad, I don't have friends. Like, what friends are you talking about? And I'm like, and no, I wasn't there. I'm like, did you go check? He's like, no. I'm like, why didn't you go check? I'm like, if you would have went to check, you would have seen that I wasn't there. I'm like, those two girls were probably in my class and they did it on purpose, like, for you to get mad at me, you know, and it wasn't even true and you fell for it. And my dad apologized. He felt bad, and that was my first day of school. The second day, there was already a bunch of people going up to me telling me that this girl wanted to fight me, that this other girl wanted to fight me, because the first girl wanted to fight me because her boyfriend liked me and I guess he added me on MySpace. Another girl wanted to fight me because I don't know, that she heard I was talking shit about her when I didn't even like know her. I didn't talk about anyone. But the only reason they wanted to fight me was because they were jealous of me and they didn't like me. I would hang out in the restroom. I would eat in the restroom. Why? Because every time I would eat in the cafeteria, I would get in a fight. Every time I would go out to where everyone hung out, like, I don't want to call it a playground because it was middle school. What do I call it? Where everyone hangs out. Every time I went there, I would get in a fight, or like it was drama. And I didn't like that. That was my life every day. Like, I'm not gonna lie, every day when I woke up to go to school, I would be like, why am I even alive? Like why am I even going to school if everyone hates me? Because all the girls would always tell me, like, I want to cry. All I heard every day was like, oh, like, why are you still here? Like, every single day, that's all I would hear from the girls. Like, that, oh my god, you should just fucking kill yourself already. Like, no one likes you. Like, you're fucking ugly. Like, that's all they would tell me. And I would be like, why do all the girls tell me I'm ugly and all the guys tell me I'm pretty, and then the girls hate me because the guys tell me that? But I listen more to the girls, maybe because I'm a girl and I really wanted to have friends that were girls and I really wanted to fit in with them. Since I told you guys it was a really bad area, like, a lot of these girls, they were in gangs. And a lot of times they would get kicked out of their house, or I don't know, I would let them come to my house. I would always be there for them, and as soon as they got what they needed and they finished using me, they would go back to picking on me and fighting me. They would come back and ask for a favor again, and I would be there for them again, just to feel like I have a friend, you know? Even if I knew it was fake, like, I just wanted to have friends and not be by myself hanging out in the restroom, or not be in a classroom, like, with the teacher, because I was kind of a teacher's pet, because I had to hang out with them, because if I didn't, like, who was I gonna hang out with, you know? And I felt more safe in a classroom than out where I knew I was gonna get in a fight. And yeah, that was middle school, but at least when I was in 6th and 7th grade, some of the older girls would defend me, like some of the 8th grade girls would defend me. But when it got to 8th grade, I literally had no one, because it was just the girls from my grade that hated me, and most of these girls were the same girls from elementary school that hated me. And I had no idea why they hated me so much when I never did anything to them. And I didn't understand why jealousy could take someone so far, like that far. And the reason I say this is because when I was in 8th grade, they ended up jumping me, like, and it was 12 of them, and they planned this. And I guess one of the guys had heard them. His name was Tony, and he tried to warn me. He's like, Jaylene, I heard all the girls talking and they're saying they're gonna jump you and I don't want them to hurt you. And I was like, leave me alone. And the reason I told him to leave me alone was because I tried to avoid boys. Because of them, the girls hated me. So I'm like, stop talking to me, you know? Like, and I prefer to be by myself because it was less problems. So I didn't listen to him. And I wish I would have listened to him, because he was right. And yeah, first one came up to me, and she was the one that hated me the most. And I had so much, like, resentment against her, because when I was there was one time when I was in the locker rooms for PE, and I was, like, bending down picking up my pants, and she took a picture of me from the back and sent it to all the boys in school. And I was little, you know, so I had little girl underwear, that underwear that completely, like, covers your butt and had like little hearts on it. And everyone had that picture, and everyone was making fun of me the next day. That same girl had cut my hair too. One time I was running and she was running behind me, and she just, like, ran closer to me and cut my hair. I could go on and on. She, like, did so much stuff to me. That girl was the first one that went up to me to fight me, and I was on top and she was on the bottom. And while I was on the top, I just felt a bunch of people start kicking me. So while I was on the top, the rest of the girls ran up on me and they hit me, they kicked me everywhere. And I didn't know that their plan was, like, to kill me. It sounds crazy, but that was their plan.